Week 11 of Back to Viz Basics, Flourish edition. We are asked to use color purposefully. So that's what we're going to do in this week. If you haven't been over to the data.world site to get the data, you should check it out. Here's what we've got. We've got data from the World Economics Forum 2024 Travel and Tourism Development Index. A bunch of data here. Now, I just want to note that while I love the Back to Viz Basics project, it's a great project, great idea, it is, we zoom in, it is primarily geared for Tableau. So this is pretty much a Tableau project. That's okay. We can use our own tool. And today we're going to use Flourish. So the data are pretty simple. And I made a whole bunch of things. I played around with a whole bunch of things because really the data are quite straightforward. So let me show you what I created, how I made a few things. Then we'll take a break and I'm going to show you just one last step and integrate it with another tool. So I started with just a simple bar chart. I just wanted to play around just to see what the data look like. Look, the data are pretty straightforward. We've got the ISO code, so that's the 3-letter code for each country. We've got the name of the country, the region, the sub-region, the group, income group, upper, high, income, low, et cetera, and then we've got values and the rank in 2019, 2021, and 2024. So we can think about lots of different ways that we might plot these data, right? We might do it as, for example, a line chart. Well, I tried a line chart, and as you can expect, you're going to get sort of like a mash of lines. Now, here's just the top 20, but like it's not particularly interesting. Okay, so what else can we create? Well, we've got geographic data, so your first instinct might be to make a map. So I created a world map. So here's the map. And I'm just going to show you real quickly because I don't love this map. It's fine, but like, it's not really giving me much information. That's a technical term. That's a technical term for not giving me much. So again, I brought the data in and I'm just going to show in this map the 2019 value. Be careful when you are bringing in your data into Flourish. It's very nice how they set up the different geometries, the different ways to match your data. So they already have a bunch of codes here that you can use to connect them over. Now, here's the challenge that I found right away is my first instinct was, well, this is just, I'll just use the name here. But I created it using the name of the country and found that certain countries, including the United States, didn't match up. Because in this data set, if we scroll down, it's United States. But over here in the matching, and I can't remember which variable I was using. I think I was just using country name. If we scroll down, it is United States of America. So it didn't quite match. Now I could go in and fix that, but it turns out they actually have the matching ISO code. So I'm all set. So you just gotta, just be careful. You can see over here on the right, they give you lots of IDs to match from. So it's not very difficult, but there are some things to think about. Anyway, let's go back to the map. So here's the map. Now you'll notice there's a lot of blank area on this map, and that's because we don't get all of the data from the World Economic Forum. So I sort of played around with a little bit of what I would do with the missing data, and you can sort of click this toggle over here in the regions layer and turn on the missings. Now, I don't love that black's a little dark, so I don't know, maybe a gray is okay. I don't know. I haven't really thought all the way through that, but this is pretty straightforward. You just drop your data in. You can choose different projections, which is really nice. Like that's the Albers global. I'm not going to use that. But you can sort of play around here and with some different projections. Okay. So that's a map. It's fine. It could work. I also want to play around with stories. So we haven't really done any stories yet in Flourish. And so this was a neat opportunity, I think, to try stories. So I'm going to show you what I created. And I didn't spend a ton of time sort of tweaking this and styling it, but I'm going to show you how I actually did it. So here's the story. Now, this is available only under the Pro account. So if you don't have a Pro account, you're not going to be able to create this just yet. But what you can do is start with a fairly simple bubble map. Or just a bubble, clustered bubble. I'm gonna color these by region of the world, so you can see it sets up those regions based on the data. And then what I could do is I can click, and because it's using the same data, it actually animates from one to the next. So here, all I need to do is go to the next pane. All I'm going to do is duplicate this pane, this slide, go to the next one, and change my toggles here in the drop-down menus, and I get this nice animation. And so I just kind of played around with it. Let me go back here. So I start with all the data, and then I say, okay, let's organize it into the high income, low income, lower middle, upper middle economies. Let's go and look at the 2019 values sort of strewn out as kind of a Beeswarm chart. Let's look at the change from 2019 to 2024. And you can see how they're pretty highly correlated as you would expect. And then finally, let's put them into a Beeswarm chart, separated out by each of these different groupings. And this was the graph that I really kind of liked, and that's the final graph I'm going to make. But let me show you how to create the story just in case you're interested, because it's relatively simple to do. I'm going to go back to my week 11 tab here, click new visualization. And if I scroll pretty close to the bottom here, I have to look, Data Explorer. And if you don't have a pro version, I don't think you're going to have this. There's a few things in the pro version that you get over the free version. So here, if I just click the simple one, so it just sets up right here. I'm going to click data, and I'm going to upload my week 11 data. Scroll down, bring in those data. I made some changes in there. I was playing around with some ideas, and I'm just going to import everything, and I've got my data all set up. And see, so it already sort of numbers everything. It's using its AI to figure out what matches and so on and so forth. I'm just going to leave this just so we could go kind of quickly here. But here is the basic one. So let's change the color here to region. And it's going to use the default color palette here in Flourish. And what I'm going to do here now is just create a story. And when I click create a story, it's going to bring me over to that interface I just showed you. And so here I can just duplicate. And now I can start to think about, all right, so let's show the 2024 value. And let's set that color to region. And what's nice is because I'm within the same data, within the same story, when I toggle between the two, and I need to add my color here, I can go from one to the next and it animates. And so that's I think a really nice feature in Flourish. Okay, so that's all just some kind of playing around. I made a lot of graphs just to kind of explore these data. And really, I'm using this whole project just to learn Flourish. So I wasn't really concerned about the underlying story in the data getting sort of like neck deep to understand what's going on. But I did like that Beeswarm chart. And so this is a chart that I ultimately sort of came down with. And so I actually went to the original website to find what the story was about. And, I went and just grabbed some text and did a little bit editing. Europe and East Asia Pacific regions and high income economies have the most favorable conditions for travel and tourism development. So I'm going to show you how to create this. And then we'll take a break, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to implement this with the Canva tool to do something slightly different. So let's go back over to week 11, and I'm going to click New Visualization. And now I just have to scroll to kind of find it. And here's a Beeswarm right under the scatter charts. Good spot for it. I'm going to open that chart, the default. We go into the data here. Again, I'm going to upload my data. Get down to week 11, and let's just bring it all in. Terrific. I got in. Now it's already prompting which values to want there. Now I want to bring in the 2024 value, so I need to change this. So the X values I'm going to use is column J, and the Y values I'm going to use. Now let's see. I can't even remember what I use. So let's go back over here. I've already done it. So this is the kind of thing I've started to get used to, is just kind of try to memorize like the letters down the column. So JEAC. So we'll go back over here. So J, the income group, right? And then the name and then the color. And so now I've got my Beeswarm chart. So a few things that we can change here. I don't like the high income economies at the bottom. High kind of at the top seems to me make more sense. So I'm just going to go to the Y axis and I'm going to flip the axis. That's very nice. If you can see here, just barely, it's very faint. There's a little tick mark there. And I'm going to turn that tick mark off. And I've started to finally get this in my head. When you go to ticks and labels and click styling, there's the labels. That's changing the labels. And then the ticks to show down here. And the best way to do this, to get rid of just the tick marks themselves, is just to change the width to 0. And then they disappear. So that's looking pretty good. On the x-axis, that's okay. It's kind of a strange set of increments here. So I'm going to just make a couple of changes here. let's change, first off, on the styling, let's put this to 0 degrees. I want that to be horizontal text. And let's change the scale. I don't like that it starts at 2.6, kind of weird. Let's change it to 2.5 to 5.5. I think that just kind of, now you can see it doesn't quite, so this is an interesting thing about Flourish. You know, in most tools, if you said start at 2.5, it would start it at 2.5, but that's not exactly happening here. So you have to do some additional formatting to get it over to 2.5. Now, what exactly is that formatting? Well, we have to go in and change the labels here. And of course, now I'm forgetting. So I'm just going to go back over to the final version. As you can see here, I've already got it. So let's just go back. And I changed that. And I'm going to add an axis title. And I think, the ticks to show. So that's where it is. So, you know, if you have to go back and forth to just remember these things, not a problem. So ticks to show, let's go down here. Change this to custom. Change this to number, sorry. And number 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I want to show those 5. I want to change the title here to custom. Put in a title. There we go. And we're looking pretty good. So this is your pretty standard Beeswarm chart. Now we can also format these pop-ups. Now we're actually going to spend more time doing the pop-ups in the week 5 tutorial. And I haven't created that video yet, this early June, but I will create the week 5 tutorial coming up soon. We're really going to spend some time in the pop-ups. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but there's lots of things you can do in the pop-up. The one thing I'm going to show you real quickly is how to change, because I think this pop-up looks pretty good. I'm going to change the 3-letter code to the name of the country. Okay, so we got to go back to our data. And we have to go down here to info for pop-ups. We actually have to tell it that we want, in this case, the country name, which in the data is called economy. So I'm going to type in the letter B here. And I'm going to go back over to my graph. I'm going to go down to pop-ups and panels. And I'm going to change my pop-up here to change to custom. And so what you do with the pop-ups, if you haven't played with this yet, it's really nice. You click the little paintbrush icon, and you're going to be able to put in whatever you like. And here I just want the economy. And once I tab out of that, you can see I get the name of the country. Then I can go into what's in the content. So I'm going to click the paintbrush. I'm going to delete what's in here. And we'll just put we'll put the income group. I want the income group, and then I want a breaker space. I want a carriage return. So I'm going to hit add the line break, and then I'm going to hit return because I like the make it kind of clear. And then I'm going to click out of that and see what it looks like. And so there I have my 2 labels. Of course, that's not particularly useful. So let's call it income group, colon, and let's call it 2024 TTI, Travel to Tourism Index. Click out of there, take a look. It's looking a little better. Let's actually make these bold. The names, well, let's make the values bold. So I'll just highlight those, click the bold, click out of it, and look in there again. And there we go. So we've got the name of the country, we've got the category, and we've got the TTI value. Okay, terrific. So as you can see, creating a Beeswarm chart in Flourish, not exceedingly difficult. We're going to take a break, try to make this Beeswarm chart, or whatever chart you like, but if you want to follow along, create this Beeswarm chart. Actually, let's go back over here. Create this Beeswarm chart with the title. And then after the break, we're going to come back and I'm going to show you how to move this into Canva and do something kind of cool with it as well. Okay, welcome back. So hopefully you have this Beeswarm chart. Now what I want to do is do something kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool. I'm going to bring it over to Canva, and I'm going to create a little graphic that's going to have my Beeswarm chart, and I'm also going to create a new legend. If we go back to our Beeswarm chart here, if you didn't turn your legend off, you probably have something that looks like this. This legend is fine. There's nothing wrong with it, and in the interactive version, it's great because you can toggle these. But what I want to think about is creating a static version of the Beeswarm chart. And instead of this legend at the top, I want to create a legend that's just a map of the world colored by these regions. Okay, so that's what I'm going to create at the end of the day. So what I need to do is bring this into Canva and then create a map to put that on top. Okay, so I'm going to turn this legend off. I'm going to go over to Canva. I've got a page already set up. Now, first off, if you don't have a Canva account, you'll need to create a Canva account. Then you'll need to turn on the add-ins. So there's a Flourish add-in in here. I can't actually remember how I did it. I don't think it's very difficult. I think you just type in Flourish and it will show up. So when you click that, the first time you do it, it will prompt you to log into your Flourish account. So then you log into your Flourish account and then you can find your Flourish visualizations and you can do a little search. Now it's not organized by folder as it is in Flourish, which is a little annoying. I would love to have the same interface so that I could just see, okay, here's my B2VB Basics folder and just navigate the way I'm doing over in Flourish. But okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that Beeswarm chart in and it's going to load right from Flourish, as you can see. And I'm going to stretch this and make this full height. Okay. So now what I want to do is over here, I want to create a new legend that's just a map of the world colored by the circles in my Beeswarm chart. And so to do that, let's go back over to week 11. All I did was create a basic world map from the built-in template. That's all I did. I just created a world map from the built-in Flourish template, and I just changed the colors. So this is just using what was already in there. I didn't change any of the data because it already has the regions. And then I just made sure to map the regions from the built-in data to the B2VB Basics data and then did some coloring. And this is where the colors needed to be changed right here. As you can see, these are the colors in the world map and setting the colors equal to the colors in my Beeswarm chart. So for example, you can see right here, East Asia and Pacific countries and South Asia countries are two separate categories in the default Flourish world map, but we're one category in my Beeswarm chart. So I just had to change those colors. Okay, so now I've got my world map. So I've called it map as legend. So let's go back over to Canva. And I'm just going to scroll here. See, I have a world map, but I want to find map as legend. Here it is. So I'm going to click that, and it's going to bring it right in. And I'm going to shrink that down. I want to pop this kind of maybe right over here. That's a nice little legend right there. Maybe up to the top or maybe over here. I think I'm going to put it over there. And now I'm going to sort of finish this graphic off. So I'm going to put a little subheading in here. If you've never used Canva before, I think it's a really nice design tool. I'm just going to say legend, and I'm just going to move this right above. And then I'm going to add a heading. Now, I don't know what this heading will be, but let's just say I'm going to add a little explanatory text right here, and I'll make that just a little bit smaller so it'll fit horizontally. There we go. And then I'll add some subheading style text, and I could just add a whole bunch of text here. Lorem ipsum, and I could create a whole bunch of text that goes down this whole column right here. Maybe just add some additional explanation right here off to the side of my graph. Now this is interactive. You see, if I double click, I can interact with this chart. Now this apparently isn't maybe I didn't play with the pop-ups in the final one, which I will do before I publish it. But as you can see here, this is interactive on my Canva screen. So what I would do here in this case is probably download this as an image. So I would just share this, and then I would download as a PNG and then have this as a standalone image. And I could do all sorts of other styling in here because I'm now in Canva. If I wanted to, for example, I don't know, add a circle, add a shape, add an icon, add a photograph, add a logo, whatever it is, I'm now in a design tool and I can play around with that. But I can, while I'm in Canva, if I want to create an interactive slide deck, for example, I can actually interact with these circles. So that's how you integrate Flourish into Canva. You can create your graphics in Flourish. You open the Flourish app within Canva and then can bring all of your charts, graphs, whatever you have, bring them right in. We're going to do a lot more of this over the coming weeks and months. I think. And we're also going to do a lot more styling and doing some additional stuff in our pop-ups. But week 11, fairly simple. You're just playing with color. So create your graphs, make it a map, make it a bar chart, make it a Beeswarm chart. Let me know, and make sure you share them with me and the Back to Viz Basics team. So good luck and have fun.